I eat New York. I eat New York.
Okay, I think
You don't like my warm-ups?
That's.
How do I look?
You look cute. You're the cutest Freddy I know.
Aww. Hello, Spooky BAT-Talion. Welcome back to this week's Spooky Review.
And it's metal in your lungs. No, that's solely the
Metal in your lungs. Yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
metal.
Windy.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness, you guys. Obviously, we are very excited to be back here with you for another week of Spooky Review. Okay, this week we are going to review the movie called The Rental. What we're going to discuss today is the quality of the movie, what to look for. We're going to break down the philosophical and the healing messages of the movie, and we're going to end up with how many screams we give it personally, so you don't waste an hour 40 of your life. But before we go any further, please make sure to click down there, like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a message and all of that good stuff. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, he's ready. Let's roll. Yeah, I'm trying to copy you. So before we actually go any further into this movie, just check out the Nightmare on Elm Street that's happening here. I got the hat this year. Do you have the claws? And you'll see those will come up in another episode.
When you find them.
When I find them, I know I was looking
They're
for
hiding. They're like hiding like.
They're hiding somewhere around here. So
Maybe Freddy took them.
maybe Freddy did take them. I'm so excited. We're in Hollywood. We're in Halloween month. And so we are going to be dressing up for the rest of the month in something fun. So make sure you come back to see whatever it is that we're going to be doing. Yeah, definitely me. And I always have to drag his dead weight. I have to drag his dead weight too. But he got a new Nightmare on Elm Street, which I am so in love with, from the Halloween Spirit store. And
Cool.
it's
Kudos
just
to the Spirit store.
yeah, it's a really awesome shirt. How many Nightmare on Elm Streets are there?
I think there's 11. There's technically 9. There's 9 of them, and the last 2 were revisited versions.
And wait, what does revisited mean?
I think it says revisited or revised. I think that's the word they use.
What does that mean?
Which means it's kind of a play on the original movie, but not the original actors, but it's kind of the same format as the originals.
Were they successful?
No, actually, they're the lowest grossing. The last 2.
Yeah.
So you can't beat, I think.
Because it sounds dumb.
See, the highest grossing Nightmare on Elm Street films were...
Was the first one?
No, that was the second highest grossing.
Seriously?
The first one was Jason versus Freddy. That was the higher grossing one, like 84 million.
What number was that in the...
Jason, when
in
it
the
came
series?
up, I think that was probably like somewhere like the 5th one or 7th one.
Seriously?
Or something. Yeah, that was a popular one. I remember that.
Okay.
That was a big deal because that was.
We have to watch that then.
Think about
because
it.
I don't
This whole
remember seeing
franchise,
that.
2 franchises of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and all of a sudden, who's gonna win?
The battle
Freddy or
the
Jason.
monster battles,
Yeah.
right?
So that's why it was a big deal during that time when that came out. I don't know if you remember.
No,
that.
I don't. I mean, I remember something like that when you mentioned it, but I don't think I've ever seen it. And honestly,
maybe we should see it.
Yeah, and maybe we should review that one. What do you guys think? Leave comments in below. Should we? What is it called again? It's
Jason versus Freddy.
So
or
should
Freddy
we?
versus Jason, whatever.
Should we watch Freddy versus Jason? Freddy versus Jason.
Or vice versa. I can't remember.
Should we watch that and review? So if you want us to review that one, put it in the comments below. That sounds interesting, though. I'm leaning towards watching it only because it was the top grossing one out of all of them. You said, and the second,
the original one was the second. Yeah.
Wow,
but
that's
it's a cult. But they try to revise those 2 in 2020 or something like that. But they kind of flunked, like only making like $10,000 or something like that.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's
so
nothing.
So they broke even
Okay.
Someone got some extra bubble gum money or something.
Extra bubble gum money. Here, kid. Here's your earnings from the money. Go get yourself some bubble gum. Those little loose pieces, like when we were kids, and they had the little $5 bubble gum or 5-cent bubble gum pieces that you could get, like Jolly Ranchers or little piece of the square bubble gums. You guys, let us know if you want us to do the Jason versus Freddy or Freddy versus Jason. Wait, am I saying the wrong? Yeah, it is Freddy. There's so many monsters, I'm getting them confused. Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy versus Jason. So you guys let us know if you think we should review it. I absolutely love the first one. And Johnny Depp was how old?
21.
He was 21.
In 1984.
And he was already in 21 Jump Street. I think he had already been doing 21 Jump Street and then did the movie. But oh my gosh, how cool to be able to see all of that. Anyway, we just wanted to say we're excited about Halloween. We've got our Nightmare on Elm Street gear. I got my fun little nails, my little press-on nails. So let's get into the movie that we are going to review today, which is called The Rental.
So this movie is on Netflix. Is it new? It's okay. You'll see it on Netflix. It's called The Rental. You just type it in.
I'll leave it in here, what year and all of that stuff. So one of the things right off the bat that I thought was I was super excited about was the actor that was in it. Now, I don't remember any of the actors' names or anything like that, but it really centers around 4 people, okay? And one of the actors I was excited about because he's a good actor, and he's been in Downton Abbey. He played the key role of really the leading man who dies in a car crash. He played in Eurovision, and if you guys haven't seen Eurovision, oh my God, it's with Will Ferrell, and I forget the actress's name.
She's been in a lot of movies.
She's been in a lot of things. I can't remember her name right now, but you have to see that movie. It's also on Netflix. It's clearly a comedy. There's a lot of heartfelt moments in that too. But he plays in this one too as one of the singers, and he's hilarious. He's in this movie, The Rental. Now, his name is Dan Stevens. So I got instantly excited because I knew that he's in good movies. Even if they're not like blockbuster movies, he's in good movies. So to me, that's always a sign that the movie is going to be relatively good.
Right. I think that's why, from what I heard, that was the reason why you're interested in the movie.
This has to be good. Watch the trailer.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's watch that then. If you like him.
Yeah, and then so this is.
But he is a good actor.
He's a really good actor, and this is a suspense thriller. So the story is there's four people, and there's an interesting love dynamic going on because there's 2 people that work together, and they're having some kind of success in their business, and you can see that they work in the same office together as partners in something that has just launched and become very successful. So these 2 people right off the bat, they have a promising future. Her man comes in, and it ends up being his brother. So there's this interesting dynamic that you see already where the 2 partners are very close, and then the brother of this partner is actually with his partner in business. And you already get the sense that there's some kind of weird dynamic going on, and there might be some jealousy happening. And then you later on get to meet his partner, and she seems very balanced and healthy. So
I think I got from that first scene, because that you're talking about the very first part of the scene, so we're not spoiling anything, but it's definitely what made me think about it was, I'm like, oh, okay, they're setting up something of betrayal just because of that dynamic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
True.
Like, oh, wait.
You felt trouble
Instant,
coming.
You're like, this
trouble's
is not going to
brewing.
be good. Like, this is, we didn't even know anything about the movie. I'm like, oh,
because
this
it
is
hits
not
you
good.
really, like,
you're
right.
like, okay, close,
it's the first
and that's
scene,
the brother,
really.
and yeah.
Yeah, so you already get this sense that
if you're
there's...
acutely aware of it. If you're...
But I think in general, I think most people are going to feel that. You tell us. You guys let us know if you got that sense right away. I think most people would have gotten that I felt immediately like trouble's brewing here.
It's like a natural, maybe it was like bringing out the natural response out of people, because that's a normal reaction. I think, can you imagine if we were in the big business and then my brother was seeing you, that would create something interesting
a dynamic that you definitely have to deal with. And then of course
future.
These two people are in business together and they have to spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
And then, you know, on top of that, you have
it's a recipe for disaster.
The brother of a lesser god has been in trouble.
Dressing.
And yeah, it's a bad salad dressing because you have one that's very successful and you have the other one that's troubled, and they let you know right away that he's had some trouble in his life. And to me, that's where you right away you get the sense that this could be trouble brewing, because you've got one successful and one not.
Yep.
And somehow that one that's not is tied into the other successful partnership, you know, in some way. So this whole movie is in a small setting. It takes place in a rental home, because the first scene is basically showing you all these relationship dynamics in probably the first couple of minutes. And what they're doing is they decide that before they while they have the chance, because their business is about to blow up, they decide they're all going to go and stay at this amazing rental.
Yeah, like it keeps it real, because it's what people do now, Airbnb stuff.
Right,
so
right.
It's going somewhere and it's a very nice place.
So it's very relatable. The story is relatable, because we're like, yeah, we would do the same thing. We get that. You're about to
have a good time
and get it done before you start getting super crazy busy. Have some fun. Let your hair down, because we're gonna be
water if you don't mind.
No, not at all. We're gonna work. And so they all go out to have this amazing vacation, and the intention is, you know, have fun, you know, drink. We learn, you know, some of them do drugs. Molly is involved at some point in here.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just having a good time. That's the whole point of it, right?
Okay, so when did the story turn for you? Like, when did you realize that something was starting to go wrong?
Well, in the movie, they're all there to have a good time. They're only there probably for like a couple days just to enjoy where they're at in this nice, beautiful place with the water. But it falls. You start getting a sense when both of the couples, they're planning on having a good time together, but one of them's looking forward for the next day to go to hiking, right, to the waterfalls, and then the other one just gets too drunk too soon and he passes out. So now you're stuck with the two business owners of the company hanging out together on Molly. They're on, you know, and
did they? I don't know if they took Molly.
Yeah, they did.
I don't think all of them took Molly.
Yeah,
did they?
They did.
Oh,
Those
did they?
two did,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And the brother, I think, took it, but he got really drunk. Remember, and he took it too. Actually, that three of them took it.
So they were all out of sync.
Out of sync.
So they show you like
instantly. That's the sign. Like
that's interesting.
That's a good sign of you're always out of sync. Like it's like going to a party late. And
Almost,
everyone's already 4 shots in and 3 beers drunk. You coming in, you're like, what the heck's going on? Whoa, okay. And you're like, give me some water. You know,
so it's like,
it's
so like the story was already showing us that like I like to use the phrase unevenly yoked.
Yeah.
Like it was showing how you know, we in relationships, we like to think of people being in sync. Yeah. Right? Like they want the same things together. And they're in the flow together. And what you're saying is that the movie was kind of showing us from the very beginning, it was showing us trouble. You know, there was a weird relationship dynamic. It started showing us that the couples were kind of out of sync with each other when we expected things to be more harmonious, because remember, the setting is this beautiful rental. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're already giving us all of these clues, and then the story really starts to turn. Now, for me, without giving too much, because we've already given a lot, and I don't want to tell. We're giving you kind of the intro, but it in no way tells you where it's gonna go. It's like it's gonna blow your mind where it goes. But where I saw the trouble right away from the beginning. I felt uncomfortable with how the couples were, and like you said, you could feel trouble there already. but everybody seemed happy. But where I really knew it was going to go off the hinges was as soon as they showed up at the place and the guy came
you didn't
to
even mention the person,
the host,
the host, yeah.
the super host, right?
Yeah.
Because that's Airbnb talk.
Yeah.
The super host doesn't live on site because it's a house, but is local, so he's able to come there whenever they need anything. And
Yes,
the
that's
interaction with him, the things that he says in the very first words out of his mouth, and then the dynamic, without telling you anything, there's a little bit of a snag that happens there, and there's a conversation that creates so much tension.
There's other issues that kind of come up.
That's
at the
tension.
time.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you any of that because you'll
know exactly what it is.
You're going to see several warning signs even from the time they get into the car. Okay, I covered my mouth because I didn't want you to see it, but what I want you to look for is from the moment that the movie starts, I want you, and this would be fun for you even to write these things down on a piece of paper, the trouble signs. Immediately.
Yeah.
From the time it starts until they show up at the place, you're already going to have a list of trouble signs.
Yeah.
Things that were already not good signs and letting you know. But this is a great way for you to kind of start itemizing why you feel uncomfortable about things and seeing how they do it in movies. It's really interesting.
Or people's manners and all those things, that they're all part of it. It's all meant.
Yeah.
It's all written for something.
Yeah.
So if you get inside of it, you feel that for sure. But that's what we're getting.
And it escalates. Okay, so it escalates so fast. So let's get into...
Let's move it along, huh?
Let's get into the escalation. And this is going to be hard because we can't tell you any of the story. We're we're knee deep into the relationship of it, and something really... Again, the house is one of the antagonists.
For sure.
Okay.
As usual.
There's something that happens inside the house that sets a few other things in motion.
Yes.
Okay. And this is where you realize that the shit's going to hit the fan and a lot of things start to happen, and it happens so fast. It escalates so fast. It kept me guessing the whole time because they tell you what's going on. Like they show you what's wrong and why they're reacting this way. What they don't show you is how it's happening. How it's happening. And so the four people in the house you're starting to see how much anxiety they have. A lot of things start to fall apart in the relationships.
Things get revealed
In the relationships that create so much anxiety in the household on top of the antagonism of what's actually happening inside the house. And then all these weird communications start happening through technology, and they don't know how it's happening, but things are being revealed. And then it just goes berserk. And then you see how in what is it, in an emergency type of setting, how people just freaking lose their minds.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, what did you witness? Like, what was your interpretation when you saw, like, things were clearly at a trauma and emergency state?
It was real world. It was real. Like, they actually thought about that, how people are going to react in certain situations. You always have someone who's ready to solve the problem, the solution, and sometimes not the best solution. Yeah. Then you have someone who's, no, we got to do the right thing type of mentality, right? You always have the person who's like, no, we got to do it this way. Or then you have someone who's probably part of the problem, who actually created the problem. Yeah. And then you have the person who just wants to leave and get out of it. They're just traumatized.
Yeah, that basically broke down everything. Yeah.
Right?
So you could see it happening. And also I think when you see this stuff happening and going down, it almost makes you put yourself into which character are you? Yeah. Right? Because you're immediately going, like, for me, I immediately was like, what? No, you call the cops, like immediately, right? Like I sided with that person, and maybe we all think that we would side with that, but in an emergency, maybe, these things do happen, right? Where people,
well, some people just react emotionally,
or just
right?
freeze and don't know what to do, and someone will always rise to the surface to take ownership of leadership of what's going to happen. So you can see that, and if the leader of the pack is not thinking correctly, this kind of leads me into the philosophical and the healing portion of it, because we're not going to tell you guys,
but
this really gets into the philosophical and healing portion of Spooky Review, because it shows you how crazy circumstances, i.e. even abusive relationships, not that this is it, but we've either been part of those or we've known people that have been part of those, how the completely abnormal can become normalized in a crazy setting where people go along with something.
Yeah.
And we start to see that here, where something so abnormal and crazy, and someone who takes the lead is basically convincing everybody and normalizing the decision that they're going to make. And then you see the reactions of different people and how they respond to that based on their own character.
Yeah. Definitely the philosophical part of this movie is relationship building, for sure. And also,
I was feeling you give it to me.
Give it to me. Yeah. And also judging people by on the surface. Like, can't, that cliche saying of can't judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
In what way? Like,
with the characters.
But give me an example of that.
Like the host.
Okay,
he was
so
being judged.
Oh.
He was being judged.
Okay.
Can't give that away.
Yeah.
But it's how sometimes it's basically how sometimes people on the surface could come across a certain way and a certain personality, but that doesn't mean inside their core they're that way. And I think that's what I mean, building relationships and assuming the worst out of someone. Yeah. Because some will backfire.
The implications that's actually a really great point, because that's a whole just on its own. Without we can't give any of that away, but as a healing and philosophical message in life, a lot of times whatever our baggage is, or the things that bother us or we've been hurt by, we ascribe that to someone else. We judge other people for assuming that that's what they're all about. If we have a relationship with someone that maybe we don't have a good feeling about, or we don't have good energy with, and sometimes you can't help that, you just don't connect with people, but people do tend to kind of put all of their negative thoughts, and they assume that of someone else. Now, they may be a total jerk or whatever, but it doesn't mean that everything that we think about them is true. We just assume it's true. And if we don't ever give someone the benefit of the doubt to kind of get to know them or explain themselves or whatever.
Warm up people. That's why you have to warm up to people in relationships, right? That's why this movie is a lot about relationships, and by watching it, you'll be making assumptions on people's character, and it's a normal thing. And
that people are not always who they say they are or who they appear to be, especially in a crunch, right? People react in all different sorts of ways, and the people that maybe we would expect would have this really rational, response to something, and they're the ones that don't, and the people that we just kind of look at them as la la la, and then we go, wow, this is the person that really was the only one that had a sense of reason about the situation, But then at the end of it, it just shows, that when everybody just buys into the crazy happens, right?
It's whatever the mind is our worst enemy. There's a lot to learn. It's definitely, I think, relationship building.
Yeah, and about betrayal too, about the ugliness of betrayal.
Yes, and yes.
And I also do feel like, and I don't mind telling you guys this part, you'll judge this for yourself, but I also feel like the person that was immediately implied, the bad one,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
He was the only one that seemed to care about the things that mattered. Like
yeah.
he was
just doing his job.
He was trying to kind of, I don't know, I can't even pinpoint why. I just got the sense that he was always the one trying to, I don't know, to have fun and to tell people it's okay, let's just do this, or let's go hiking, or let's have fun, let's just relax, that's what we're here to do, just trying to be like kind of peace and love. But then he was an imperfect, flawed character at the same time. So I don't know. You guys tell us what you think about these people, breaking down the characters of all of them. And I guess the other thing to that is that people wear masks. You don't always know who people are. People may appear to be really good and they're not under the surface. And people who seem to be not good under the surface, and if given a chance and a fair shake, could be these great people.
And knowing how people are different under different states of mind. When it comes to, say, substance abuse, in a entertainment way, not like I'm an addict. That's a whole different extreme. But people how they are when they drink, or when they take this type of stimulant, or just normal, and then the transition. And you see the whole person.
Because it is called mind altering, right?
Yes,
how the minds are altered. And even in addiction, which this movie doesn't address that at all. But just to further what you were saying is, even in addiction, it's mind altering and it changes people, right? So this is showing you how there's so many things that came into this, all the relationship stuff, weirdness, weird people. And then at the very end, just, it really lets you breathe into really understanding what happened. What really happened, and that's when it's revealed to us that certain things were not as we thought they were.
It kind of ends as a little cliffhanger too, a little bit. Like, it still made me think a little bit more at the end. Like,
because it's not over.
It's not over.
The ending is not the ending.
And it makes you go, ugh. Makes you think about your next Airbnb booking.
Yes, you are definitely, after watching this.
You're going to be like,
After this, you are going to definitely be thinking about your next Airbnb. Yeah, definitely. So don't say any more, because we'll give it away. So how many... Well, I want to say one other thing, too, is that the person who directed this is Dave Franco. And that was my other sign that this was most likely going to be a good movie. It wasn't going to be a blockbuster, but I had a feeling that because Dave Franco directed this, that it was going to be decent. So that, coupled with Dan Stevens being in the movie, I was like, I feel pretty confident this is going to be a good movie. And as far as screams, I'm going to say that I'm going to give it 4.5 screams. How many screams are you going to give?
I think I'll give it 4.5 as well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I would even watch it again to see if I pick up other things.
I was just thinking about, I think it would be a movie to watch again.
Yeah. Just
to kind of see if you could catch more signs. Because I didn't pay attention to certain things, because the character building was strong. And that's, of course, getting into the acting. Getting deeper into that part of the movie. Yeah, it's just fun to do it. And I don't, if you're a nerd like that, I guess, watching the movies, if you get into stuff like that. But for people who are actors and all, I can see, I'm not an actor. You're not an actor? What? Okay, you guys, oh my goodness, that is it for this week's Spooky Review. We're so excited that you were with us today, and we can't wait to do it again next week. We will see you back here for next week's Spooky Review. That's your bat. A bat at a club.
I love you
You're
too. That
cute.
was good.
You're cute, Freddy.
Come down
Freddy
and think.
Freeloader.
Freeloader.
I don't know. It just sounds fun. It's a song.
It is?
Yeah.
Freddie Freeloader's a song? This is Georgia, by the way. I said Georgia! See you guys next week!
That's good.
That was so long.
I know,
That was like
could have gone
so...
longer.
I
I
know.
just wanted to
That's
overact. Spooky review. Spooky review.
If you guys want to see the ending explained, then follow the link to the next video and I will see you there.